Hey everybody, it's Miss Allen. So thank y'all so much for watching today's video. I'm going to preview a bunch of vocabulary with you guys today, and I really wanted you to individually have as much time as you needed to write the words down. You will need to write the words down and show me come Wednesday. Okay, so use today's class time to watch this video, pause it as much as you need to, because I'm not really going to wait between the words, and make sure everything is written down in your science notebook. If you don't have a science notebook just yet, go ahead and just grab a piece of paper, and then you can add these notes at a later time when you have your science notebook. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the presentation. Again, my expectation is that you watch this, you listen, and you copy the notes down so that you can show me in class tomorrow, and I can give you a 100% participation grade. So let's do that. Okay, here we go. I'm not 100% sure if that's showing correctly, so I'm gonna just show it through here. Okay. Slide 1, of course, is science vocabulary for plant and animal classification. So you don't have to write anything down, but at the top of your paper, if you want to put science vocabulary, plant and animal classification, then you'll know what these words go to. Also, as we're going, if you want to write any of or draw any of the pictures, you're welcome to do that. So here we go. Word 1 is classification. Okay, the process of sorting things into groups of similar items. For example, these items are sorted into different recycling bins. Okay, this one is for drink cans. This one has like plastic bottles, and then this one is for paper. And so if I'm classifying those recycled items, I'm sorting them based on something that's similar. In this case, it'd be what they're made up of. So remember, you can pause the video to write this down. All right, our next word is dichotomous key. I want you to say that word, dichotomous. Dichotomous key, okay? A dichotomous key looks like this right here. It is a tool used to identify organisms based on contrasting pairs of characteristics. So when you see one of these keys, you're going to be able to identify either a plant or an animal based on the characteristics that it has. For example, let's say I have a plant, but I'm not sure what kind. I can follow the arrows and say it either makes seeds or it has spores. It can't have both, so you have to pick. Let's say it has seeds. Okay, then I say, all right, it's either an angiosperm or a gymnosperm. And I have to know, obviously, about the plant to be able to make that decision. Usually I see a picture of it or something like that, but that will help you decide. And we'll talk about some of these a little bit more, maybe not these. But just know this is what it looks like, a dichotomous key. All right, the next 3 go somewhat together. They all have the same picture. Basically, a domain is what you see at the top of this chart. And then you can work your way down to more and more specific things. And so the domain is the broadest or the biggest level of classifying your organisms, okay? So it's going to be the broadest. Then a little closer to the bottom, right here, we have the genus. That is, in the classification of organisms, a subdivision of a family. So if you notice, there's all these different ways of classifying by domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. We actually don't have to know every single one of these for our 5th grade standard. We only have to know a few. And so the domain is the very broad one again, and then the genus and species go together to talk about the name of an animal or a plant. in its like most scientific form. So like this one, for example, is called the red fox, and the scientific name is right here, Vulpes vulpes. Again, we might call it a red fox, but the scientific name with the genus and the species is Vulpes vulpes. That's kind of funny. All right, species. In the classification of organisms, species is the smallest group of closely related individuals. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to jump right here and look at some of these. The kingdom is the animals, so all animals fall in that, but not all animals are red foxes. And then jumping down to class, it's a mammal. Not all mammals are foxes. There's lots of different kinds of mammals. And so that's why each of these groupings gets more and more specific all the way down to the very last, which is that Vulpes vulpes red fox. All right, the next two slides go together. This word is vertebrate. A vertebrate is an animal with a backbone. Okay, if you want to copy this down, you can. You do not have to. I'm just looking for the vertebrate definition. But a vertebrate is an animal with a backbone. For example, mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish. Okay, invertebrates are the opposite. They are animals without a backbone. So here are some examples of those. This is not a complete list, but these animals, again, do not have a backbone. They're called invertebrates. So protozoa, that word, flatworms, arthropods, various worms, mollusks, echinoderms. Again, we don't have to know each part of this chart, so you don't necessarily have to write that down, but if you are drawing pictures, feel free to take one or two as examples. All right, the next two, again, go together. These are about plants. So animals are vertebrates and invertebrates. Plants are either vascular, like this, or non-vascular. That has nothing to do with the backbone. Plants do not have backbones, okay? So a vascular plant is a plant that has transport tissues that's on the inside for carrying water, food, and nutrients to the cells. A lot of your vascular plants are going to have like a stem and roots and leaves and flowers, not every single one, but then compare that to non-vascular plants. Okay, for example, this is moss, and this is growing on the side of some rocks. Those don't have all of the traditional plant parts that you might think of, but they are still plants. They're just considered non-vascular instead of vascular. So a non-vascular plant is a simple, small plant that lacks vascular tissue, so it does not have that, and they must grow in a really damp place. Damp means wet. That's because they don't have all those same plant parts that can carry water throughout the plant, and so they need a little help. They need to be in a wet area. All right, the next one is animal, and here's just one example of an animal. I know you can list 10, 20, 30, 40, unlimited animals, but an animal is a kingdom made up of vertebrate and invertebrate organisms. This word organisms, if you want to jot this down, this just means a living thing. Anything that is alive is an organism. And then a plant, this is the last word. A plant is a kingdom made up of vascular and non-vascular organisms. Okay. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope that you guys were able to take all these notes. And if you did not, you need to go back and rewatch this and write all of those words and definitions in your science notebook or on a piece of paper and be ready to show them to me tomorrow for a 100% participation grade. This will be your first science grade, very easy to get. All right, guys, thanks so much.